Hello, hello, hello! How is everybody doing? Sean, buddy.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, except our room just disappeared on us.
I know, right?
I was doing donuts.
I know, I was sitting here, like, getting ready to get into the session, and oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was doing donuts on pit lane, and I'm like, I hope I don't get black flagged for this. And then it throws up a checkered flag. I'm like, that's interesting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. Like, I set it up for 1 hour. I mean, I'm going to double check. Yeah, it's 1 hour, so I don't know what the dealio is.
So strange.
But anyways, hey, we're here for a special reason, right?
Yeah, we are. We got all sorts of new iRacing content. The season 4. Wait, season.
Yep, season 4.
God.
Season 4.
Season 4 build. Sorry, I'm losing my mind here. So yeah, all sorts of new content. Some of it is unique content. Some of it is to further round out existing packages or groups, which is great. Something right before the show, Amir and I were talking about how iRacing needs to kind of consolidate and round out certain groups, and in this case, they actually are, because the LMP grid has jumped to 4. I guess that's good, and
Yeah.
I guess this improves the GTP grid as well. So, here, I guess while you are doing that, should I just tell people some of the new content?
Sure, go ahead with the buddy.
All right. I don't know how much time we're going to have to do this, so I don't know if we're going to get to all of it. Our intentions were, but we're already off to a slow start. But what we have, and this is great. So we recently did the BMW and the Cadillac. The new what that? It's the
GTP.
It's the IMSA GTP. Class, aka LMP cars. Incredibly awesome cars, and Amir and I both had a lot of fun. He enjoyed that German BMW thing, and I really loved of the American Thunder in the Cadillac.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing another German car, which, because of my brand love and loyalty, will be my chosen. And then we have the Japanese effort, the glorified Honda, aka Acura. I'm sorry, I'm just made a million unfans. The Acura ARX 06. So it is going to be this Acura with the 2.4 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, 667 horsepower. And it should be evenly or in the same ballpark matching of that BMW Cadillac, and the second car being added to the GTP, IMSA GTP class, being the Porsche 963 GTP car, which you know me, I love Porsche, so I'll be jumping into that.
That's fine. You can have the Porsche this time, buddy.
Awesome. I after all my trash talking on German cars for the sake and fun of the BMW, now I'm looking for the session. All right. I gotta hit refresh. I wish there's no instant refresh on the new UI compared to the old one, huh?
I mean, yeah. I mean, while Sean's trying to he's trying to get into the session. So going over our iRacing content that we know, that came out yesterday so far. So we have the 2 GTP cars. We got the Porsche and we got the Acura, and that really rounds out currently what is being raced in IMSA in real life in the GTP class. I mean, next year we're expecting Lamborghini, we're expecting some other manufacturers too that are going to jump in. On the other hand, we still have, like, if you look at GTP, its equivalent in Europe, we have the LMDH. We're still missing the Peugeot, and I believe the Ferrari. So those 2 cars right there, and then, same thing, manufacturers are going to jump into those sessions. So that's it for the GTP class. Then we also got the brand new Ferrari 296 GT3, which replaces the old 488 Evo. And this is a car that Ferrari decided that, now that GT3 is becoming more of an amateur race class in a lot of different series, they're calling this the gentleman's driver car that they can have fun in, but also win if they really try hard. So, and it already proved it during the 24 Hours of Nürburgring this year. It won in the GT3 class, which it should be coming to the other different race series here as starting next year. What else did I miss, Strong? We got the Toyota Super Formula car. Not Toyota, but the
Well, wait, I wanted to go back to
Yeah.
some of their wording.
Yep.
Gentlemen, amateur. So they're affordable.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
So
Everyone should go out and get one.
I mean, I don't think they're affordable for people like us. They're
Normals?
only affordable for people that sim race if you get it through iRacing, and even then it might not be affordable. But hey, at least you can race it virtually too. You know.
Yeah. My buddy Troy Denny from Dallara is here, reminding us that both the Cadillac and the BMW chassis are actually made by Dallara.
Yep, that's right.
But no hand in the Acura or the Porsche. Is that right?
The Porsche chassis is made by Orca. While you got the Acura is actually their chassis is made by Honda's Performance Division, which for some reason they're not going to be racing in the World Endurance Championship. Like they said, all right, we're going to race in IMSA as Acura, but no word yet if they're going to race in, the WEC or Le Mans as Honda as they're known throughout the rest of the world. But yeah.
Right. Okay, I am loaded in.
All right.
I am sitting on. Oh my God! So we're at Ledenon.
Yeah. But before
get the Ledenon on.
But I mean, before let's finish up the round out real quick. So we also got the 1987 Pontiac Grand Prix for the oval NASCAR. Gonna turn left or turn right? Turn left. And then
this is the era that was the peak of my NASCAR love. And I don't know if it's a weird coincidence, but I was also into the WWF at the time. I don't know why there's a correlation there, but I was into wrestling and NASCAR in the late 80s. So yeah, this is the way I think NASCARs are supposed to look, sound, and feel. So I'm actually kind of excited to check that out.
So that takes me to, I guess, like the very most important question of all that's going to probably get asked this whole entire stream. Who was your favorite wrestler in the 80s?
Oh, I jumped around. I like Superfly Snuka.
Okay. So you weren't a Hulkamaniac?
No. I was never like I'm not a hero guy.
Okay.
So if you're on top, I rarely root for you. That's just sort of my MO. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback who's ever played the game, and I despise him, right? What can I say?
See, I was always more of a, what was his name? Macho Man Randy Savage fan back in the day.
Yeah, Macho Man. Oh, yeah. Right? And to be honest with you, and it's because of my physique,
right?
I always liked the Iron Sheik.
Okay.
I love the Iron Sheik, and I love that he was like the bad guy, and I watched the documentary on him and it was awesome because like it was not an easy thing being the Iron Sheik.
No, definitely not in the 80s. No, not in the 80s with all the the Eastern, like the Iranian thing that was going on. And like, credit to the guy. Like, I saw that documentary too, and I read a lot about him because he was just such an eccentric character. Like, come to find out, like, the dude never broke character. Even when he wasn't wrestling, he was always in his Iron Sheik. Like, when he was out and about with the other wrestlers, always in the Iron Sheik character. Always talking smack, always talking shit to everybody, and just being, like, this angry, person that just wanted to beat the crap out of everybody.
Yeah. Truly fascinating.
Oh, man. I think, what is it? Like, getting back to this, so we covered the cars. We also got Circuit Ledenon that we're at today. We also got Kern County, both the oval and the dirt configuration. And the new revamped Zandvoort, the newest scan. Zandvoort went through a renovation because last year they started racing Formula One there, so I had to revamp the circuit. Completely redoing a lot of the corners so it can take the forces so the F1 cars can handle the track. Now we get it in iRacing.
Right.
And it's for free. If you have Zandvoort, you have it for free.
I didn't have to buy that this morning.
Yeah. Sean and I were talking about the damage it did to our wallets trying to buy this content, and we're like, oh man, yeah, we need to figure out a better way of doing this kind of stuff.
So, have you ever turned a lap at Ledenon?
Never. This will be my first time.
Yeah, I don't even know the layout, so please forgive me.
Uh-huh. I don't either, man.
Forgive me for should I turn the driving line on?
No, don't do that.
All right.
So I'm gonna.
Where are you?
I haven't been on track yet. Let me make sure we're get everything ready.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm all impatient.
No,
Should I go back to donuts?
All right. So I'm right ahead of you. Let me.
Now I don't see any I don't see any iRacing up.
And what?
On the video.
It should pop up now because we're a little bit of delay.
Okay, just check.
I see it on the stream. Like we're good.
I'm on just watching live with everybody else.
Oh.
I'm a spectator. So yeah, I'm delayed. Okay.
All right.
What you see is what you get, so you're good.
I mean, we should be good. If people say they can't see the screen, but then we can, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Ready to go?
I am.
All right, let's do this.
That does not, when I was looking at this car and painting it, I'm like, don't I already own this car? But looking at the rear end of this car, that almost doesn't even look like a Ferrari. Are you in the Ferrari?
I am in the Ferrari.
What are you in?
I'm in the 296.
It's very smooth for a modern Ferrari. Like, I'm accustomed to a little bit more lines.
Whoa, and we're already sliding.
Oh, I'm in the grass. At least you kept it on the grass, on the track. Okay, yeah, I forget that I don't know where I am and what I'm doing.
I got to adjust the brake
so
bias real quick.
Okay, I'm with you.
All right.
This looks like a slow corner.
Yeah.
Ooh, a lot of camber and then a transition uphill. I love that in a track, so you just got to smile out of my face with Ledenon on. All right, gonna come out to the outside. Looks like another slower corner, kind of flat. Rumble strip, the little bit of kick there on that one. A hump, a blind hump.
Oh my gosh, so much elevation changes.
Oh wow, look at this. Look at this little roller coaster action. Another uphill transition. Cambered to help and hurt on acceleration.
Oh, I don't even know where I'm going.
Whoa, yeah.
A lot of blind corners because of elevation changes.
Wow, this is literally just up and down, like almost like a motocross track would be laid out.
It's a very small, tight track. This track was built for. Whoa! I'll wait for you. So while Sean catches up, so this track was built in 1973. Seeing different kinds of race events that happened here. And so, but right now, what's currently being raced on it is the French F4 Championship and the French GT4 Championship. But back in the day, it used to see even up to GT2 cars back in the day. I mean, you can see, these elevation changes, are probably the most I've seen in a track in a very long time.
I'm coming. I see you now. Oh, went off that corner too.
Oh boy.
I'm coming.
I'm going slow for you, buddy.
I remember this. This is and then the downhill. Another cambered corner. Oh, this is kind of a quickie. Okay, gotcha. And then this one's a little bit of a slower downer. This is Sean's on the fly terminology. By the way, so we're seeing a couple of things. Oh, we made that mistake last time. Just out of nowhere left turn, Clyde. Oh, all the way down to first gear.
Yep.
So we are looking at the track for the first time, right?
Yep.
And we're also driving the car. So for a Ferrari, this is a very muted car, is it not?
It is.
As far as audio goes.
I mean, it's a turbocharged V6. So of course you're not going to get the the roar and the oomph of a V8. But this car feels really nice. Like once you get the tires warmed up, it's a little sketchy on cold tires. I think which most cars are. But
which is good.
Yeah, which is good. But now we're getting the tires warmed up, the car feels really, really nice.
Whoa! That's not the quick one. Almost slammed the wall.
I'm braking. The brake feels really nice on this car. And because now it's a twin turbo V6, like the car feels a lot more responsive in this engine.
Blind turn. Blind turn,
yeah.
Clyde. Now you can see his, well, I don't know what angle we're seeing. I'm seeing your Ferrari finally.
Sure.
Close enough to, oh.
I'll let you pass me. Go ahead and pass me. I'll get behind you. So people can see
All
the
right.
car from behind.
Oh, I guess I just can't just blast by, huh?
There's the rear of the car. So.
After I was talking about those, oh, they did. So, yeah, that's the other thing, Dan. I'm glad you brought that up because they added a lot to it beyond just the content that we're mainly focusing on. But I was looking at the checklist, and yeah, like new audio options and a ton of new AI tracks, and there were. Oh, I did that last time. This is a slow corner, man. I have no idea where I'm going.
Sorry, buddy. You keep doing what you're doing, as Ken would say.
Oh, I know this corner.
Like I love that. Like you get the turbo squeal now on this car. You get that clunk when you shift gears.
Blind turn, climb.
Yep.
It's not that. It's not super. You don't. I don't think you have to brake much. You just have to. I think get off the gas and know where you're going, kind of. Oh, you're not getting by far. F that. I like this section, kind of like a super high-speed chicane into a ultra slow cambered corner, and if you get greedy on the gas, you will go around that grip. Gravel sand traps, the actual slow you down, is that right? Do we need to check that?
Yeah, a bunch of people were complaining about it. Let's go. Let's check out the gravel trap.
That was intentional, by the way.
Oh yeah, it actually slows you down now. What about the grass?
Yeah, this is the new Ledenon. It is cool. I think this would be very fun in, ironically, this would be fun in what Amir says they actually run here, the F4 car. So F4 car is really not very fast. And a good amount of grip. That corner is weird. It's sharp at the end, I think. I love this section right here. It reminds me of not Monza.
Imola?
Can't concentrate. Imola. Yeah, thank you. There are things about this track that actually remind me of a couple of different places.
I like how. Whoa! What happened? Bye, Sean.
Well, I guess I get to see what the damage of the new Ferrari looks like.
All right.
Because that was a pretty good hit. It'd be fun in go-kart.
All right, so we'll try to do a lap, somewhat full speed.
All right. Portimao. So it reminds me a little bit of Interlagos, because Interlagos has the going up and down the hill. So you go, you turn one way up the hill, and you turn the other way down the hill, up the hill, right? We got a little of that action going on. It does remind me of Imola with the like really fast corner into a slower corner, which is really fun. It's got a few really fun braking zones that will be great to optimize because I think it leaves the car a little unbalanced. So you're going through a little left-right. Reminds me of going down the hill at Nordschleife into one of those left-hand bridges. And it's like, it's not a difficult section. It's not, you don't even have to brake all that hard. But if you brake a little too much with a little too much steering input, you might just go around under braking, which that's the kind of stuff, you know, for me, driving is about fun. It is about competition, but it's also about fun, the driving experience. I like driving a car at its maximum. And, you know, when it gets a little treacherous to me, that just makes it a little bit more fun. That cambered corner is something.
Yeah, so what I'm finding out about this car so far as I've been driving it is it's a very lively car. Like Sean earlier was saying, it was kind of muted. Like maybe in the engine note, yes, but rear end wise, this thing can get really squirrely. And this is just the normal iRacing setup, no changes. We've done no changes to it, but really you could.
Well, and to clarify, that was just on the sound.
Yeah.
It didn't have that like snorting raspiness that Ferraris
Right.
will often have.
I mean, we still don't know this track too much, but man, you get on this throttle a little too early, and that rear end's gonna start kicking out.
Oh, it sent me right to the wall.
Which I really
like.
like.
This would be fun in VR, Alan.
But what I like about, even though this car is squirrely, when you get onto the gas really quick, it's really controllable though. Like if you just, you know, you flick the steering wheel just a little bit, you know, in the opposite direction, the car will come back to you, which I really like. That like sometimes like when you drive mid-engine cars, like let's say you're talking about the Audi, we're talking about the McLaren. Once you lose that rear end, you're done. You're just a passenger on that, you know, at that point. But this car, like once you start feeling it coming out from behind you, like just a quick fix of the steering wheel will really bring this car back under control. And I'm sure like you can really dial this stuff out, you know, once you get into setting this car up. But like right now, like
go ahead.
No,
sorry.
like which I think is like the big difference between the old Ferrari, which the old Ferrari, like you just throw it in the corners and it's just gonna grip for days until you wear out the tires. But this thing, like you really need to manage your throttle, or you're gonna spin out. Like see, you're here, like that was drifting through that corner right there. Oh, there we go. I finally spun it out.
Ah, I was spending all that time trying to like slowly warm up my tires and catch up to you, or let you catch up to me. I noticed there are absolutely no markings on this track, brake markers. There's nothing to use as a reference point, which does make it exceptionally difficult. Those who know the layout obviously are going to have a massive advantage on a track like this in particular. All right. Here comes Amir. He's got warm tires. I've got medium.
I've got cooked tires.
I got like almost coming to temperature, maybe. Who's calling me? What is this rude interruption?
We're streaming. No one can call us now.
Come on, sand, save my ass. Oh, look at that. That was awesome. It totally saved my ass. Oh, almost put it around again. You got a little twitchy too.
Oh yeah, like that spot get really twitchy there. But yeah, like I'm enjoying this. Like even though this car likes to spin its rear wheels, it's controllable. I like it.
Well, I mean, you did say gentleman race car, right?
Yep.
So it's not overly electronic. You know,
Yep.
you got to drive it or it's going to bite you in the ass. You got to know your driving line or you're going to drive off the track in my case here.
Right, Joe? Just don't use me as the marker. Yeah, like, this track, I love the elevation changes. I love the corners on this thing. The only thing I would give it marks to is, like, yeah, I would not use this track for anything higher than GT3 cars. I think this track is a little too slow, or a little too small and tight for anything faster than GT3 cars. Oh, I love this section.
Oh, it's so fun. Wow!
See, like...
It's totally over. Yep, that was all driver, though.
Like, so I was spinning out, too. So that's... Alright, let's wait for Sean to come back.
Oh, no, I just wrecked it again. That's awesome, though. Again, that was another case of just no help on the gas pedal. Right? I mean, like, there's no traction control. I mean, I didn't look up the stats, but I'm not hearing a single pop of any kind getting in the way.
So there's traction control. Like, I mean, it's a GT3 car. You're going to have ABS. You're going to have traction control.
Very limited, though. It's not like get in your way traction control.
Yeah.
You know? Because, again, you get on the gas too hard, you're going around.
Yeah.
A lot of super modern cars will almost prevent that from happening.
Where's Sean on screen? Oh, you're still in the pits?
I'm on. Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
Oh, okay. Alright.
I dumped it. I wrecked another one of these. Everyone should do it. Ferraris.
You got to pay Ferrari now. 500,000 grand now, man. Whoa, let's see. I lost it there. A little overjealous. Lost it.
On the final corner?
No, on that little slidey. Coming down the hill. So, like, I'm going to drive on the gravel, like... Yeah, the gravel traps really slow you down now. Like, there is no... Like, here I am full throttle. And, like, that was me on full throttle. And it was doing that. Alright, I'm coming around now.
When I went a little sideways, and my rear end got into the gravel.
Yeah.
And it slowed it down, like, and didn't send me spinning out of control. It wasn't, it wasn't one of those moments I felt it should have.
Right.
Right.
I mean, a gravel trap shouldn't take you out of control. It should just slow you down.
Yeah. And it just kind of immediately slowed my rear end, and my sideways movement came to a stop, and I was able to regroup and get out of it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Grass will slow you down now too.
Let's try out the grass.
Instead of just being ice.
Let's try it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely...
Oh, well, here, yeah, it's very rumbly here. Oh, yeah.
Doing some mowing some grass.
You missed a spot, Sean. Right here, you missed a spot. I got
thank you. It takes two. It takes two, man. It takes a village.
Yeah. I mean, that's good now. I mean, that was the biggest complaint in iRacing was the grass. Like, the grass did not slow you down when you went off track.
Late apex, that. Got a late apex. Can you jump at Bathurst? That's a great question.
No, you can't do it anymore. Because of how the tracks, because of how the grass and stuff slow you down. I bet that hurt a lot of people's feelings right there.
Well, that's not very realistic.
Come on, Grandpa, hurry up.
Sorry, I thought it was this corner. Yeah, I'm not really very good with this layout just yet. All right, you go. You want to go ahead?
No, go ahead, buddy. Oh, I spun it. That's all right. I'll catch up to you again. I mean, and I'm sure, like, with the proper setup, you can tune out, you know, the spinning from the rear end. But just even with the base setup, this car is really, really fun to drive. Like, I love how the front end just grips. But to me, this is how a race car should be. It shouldn't be, you know, a car that you drive on the rails. It should be a car that you grab by the scruff of the neck and you just wring the hell out of it, you know, without going overboard. It's gonna come back and, you know, it's gonna turn around and bite you.
I like this car and track a lot.
Yeah.
You know, when I bought it and when I downloaded it and I'm looking at it next to the other two Ferrari GT3s, and I'm like, wait, this is ridiculous.
Hey, Sven.
But with that said, it's actually a really cool, nimble, not ridiculously overpowered Ferrari.
No. Yeah, so on the topic of that, Joa, like, oh my gosh, like I said, like on my last, you know, when we were talking about the podcast, iRacing, don't change a thing on the last car we talked about. iRacing, don't change a thing on this car. This car is super fun to drive. Oh, Sean, I just said I set the fastest lap. Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Lies. It's so biased. It's not. I don't know who's keeping time around here. Where's the freaking corner?
Oh, off track there. Whoa. Almost lost it there.
I cannot see half of these corners.
Oh, that one caught me out. Yeah. Drift to! Oh, I'm so far off.
Oh, where's the? This layout is gonna take a little while. Like, where's the corner? Oh, nope, still not there. Oh, there it is. Oh, nope, too late. I love this spot. Oh, I love this part of the track, though. So much fun.
Whoa, whoa. Woo. Oh, I'm loving this track, man. This track and car is awesome.
All right, we both gone silent in the hot lapping mode.
This car's just so much fun to drive, man. It's not even just like the hot lapping, it's just, having a blast with this thing. Like, I don't even care about hot lap, I just like, you know, like, I want to spin that rear end out a little bit. Try to catch it. Oh, man.
Turn.
Like right here, just drift it. Oh, lost it. Too much. Got too greedy. Well, like, all right, I'm gonna sit it out for a little bit. I'm gonna put the camera on you for a little bit so people can see it from the outside. Where are you, Sean? There you are. So people can take a look and see how this car looks from the outside. Like, it's a beautiful car, man. Like, yes, it retains some of that look of the 488, but it's a lot more sleeker. It's got a lot more curves to it. It's not as angular as the 488 was.
No, it's smooth. Yeah, it's elegant-ish compared.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like, it's kind of like a mix between a Ferrari and like the Lotus, the newer Lotuses, a bit. Especially like the rear of the car. I mean, it just looks like a mean, aggressive car now.
Whoa!
Whoa! That's because
I dumped it there again.
Oh, look, and just the whole front end came off in one piece. But but don't think that's like because of iRacing, how iRacing did their damage. So, yes, the front end came off as one piece. But that's actually how the car is designed. So, like, Sean, I don't know if you know this, but like the car is designed to come off in components. That way, if it's to make when they repair the cars or they change parts in the car, it's kind of like watching Ford versus Ferrari. When they change, when they want to change the brakes, they didn't just change the whole brakes,
whole assembly.
Right? They took off the whole entire assembly and put on a brand new assembly. So, this is how the new Ferrari is in real life. Like the whole assembly comes off, and they put on the whole new assembly to make things so much quicker. So I mean that's one that's kind of smart on Ferrari to do that because it makes doing repairs a lot easier.
Right.
So don't think just because saw right here in iRacing saw the whole entire front end came off, like that's an iRacing mistake. No, that's how the car is actually designed in real life to happen. Oh, leave the
Should we switch?
Leave the cones alone, buddy.
Should we switch to a different?
Well, yeah, we could switch. So while we could leave it here. We could switch to a little bit. While I get the next server up, if you want to give us your thoughts on the car.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I'm gonna, and it's weird because I love Ferraris, right? So again, I think I mentioned this already, but going in, I just felt here. I'll just keep. Tell me when I should stop driving.
Oh,
now.
Go ahead. You can keep on doing, man.
So, yeah, but going into it, I was just like, God, it's so repetitive. It's a car we have 10 times over. It does sound different than the other ones, as you can hear, and it does drive different. So a combination of different levels of electronics, different horsepower, different weight balance, and all that. Like Amir noted, it is a real cool, fun car to drive. When I talk about fun, I actually, as much as Formula One cars are the epitome of perfection with, just tremendous enough downforce to run upside down, right? As much as that's what's going on with them, it's a different discipline entirely to drive like that. To me, I guess I just come from that old era of old movies and solid axle rear wheel drive cars. And to me, part of driving, and it's funny, ironically, I'm not a huge drift fan because what I'm going to say almost contradicts that. But part of racing was like your ability to control the car, because the car was not perfect and did not have endless grip or endless abilities. And you had to walk that very fine line, a mere reference Ford versus Ferrari. In yesteryear, it was the same thing. You had to budget your tires, you had to budget your engine, maybe your RPMs were capable of blowing your motor. So a downshift could pop the motor, or running it too hot could be terminal. We're kind of in that halfway point here where it's, you need to use your driving skills to get this around quickly. You're not being aided overly by computers, traction control, even downforce or endless grip of the tires. So it does. Yeah, well, no, and Joe, that's the thing. They'll hear me that it's fun. But yeah, coming off these corners, I get a good amount of nose grip, right? So you can charge into corners with some confidence when you know the driving line. It is a full-body GT, so slow corners are going to be slow and low. That is the tempo. But once you get going, like through this section, you just feel the edginess of the car, and you feel the horsepower being on the borderline of more than what the car can handle. Borderline. Now, in a little bit slower circumstances, it's more than enough to just light those tires up. So you have to have boundaries as a driver, or you're going to find yourself, into the sand.
Yep. No, everything you said was correct, man. I mean, yeah, get it out of the way. I mean, Joe has mentioned a couple times, iRacing does have a habit of dialing the fun out of some new cars. But hopefully, hopefully that's not the case anymore, because this car, I mean, we haven't tested it against the other GT3s. It's quick. Is it as quick as the other GT3s? I don't know. But, you do need to have a proper setup, to keep this car under control. You can't get overzealous with this car. You can't, the minute you overdrive it, you're gonna start spinning the rears out. So you've really got to be like, you got to be like in that controlled aggressive mode where like you're finding that fine line and not crossing that line. Like once you hit that fine line of, hitting the maximum what that car is capable of, like you have to stay there, because the minute you cross it, that rear end's going to start slipping out on you, and you're going to be losing some time. And if you can't catch it, I mean, the car's going to spin around too. Which I think all race cars should be. Like that's my take on it. Like it shouldn't be a car that's
now I'm overdone it.
It shouldn't be a car that's on rails. Like we see some of these cars, like they're just not fun to drive. Like sure, you can put in some fast laps in it, and you can get some wins and everything like that. But it's just still like it's so muted. The driving experience is so muted. It's like I like to have a car that's a little lively to have some fun in while I'm driving it. So kudos to iRacing on this car. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Oh, into the sand again. I need to turn the fan on and get that going in this room.
Well, I've got the next session up for us.
Okay, so I'm going to jump out of this one.
I thought you were jumping out while I was talking, but you're having too much fun in the car.
I was doing donuts. I was testing. So with the traction control, I want to find out how good can it do a 180.
Okay.
Right? Like if you did spin out, what's the recovery? Because, some of the new, and this is something that I do complain about the super duper modern cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of them, if you find yourself backward on the track, you have no option but forward, reverse,
Yep.
right? And I like a car that, hey, in an emergency, I want to drop the clutch and do a quick 180. It struggles almost to do it, but it can do it.
Oh man. Brian, hey Brian, we miss you too, man. Like, yeah, you got to get back and race with us. Summer's almost over with.
Oh, strike.
Yeah.
No, he's off having too much fun with wifey doing summer things.
I see his stuff on Facebook. I see his post with him and his wife on Facebook.
Yeah, all over town, all over the world. Yeah, you guys rock. All right, I'm going to turn on that fan. I'll be right back.
Oh, no, you're good, man.
Oh, wait, I need to get the room joining.
Yeah.
I'll do that while I'm waiting.
All right, so we did the test on the Ferraris while Sean's getting loaded into the next session. So really enjoyable car. If you're a GT3 driver, I mean, I personally would highly recommend you try out the new Ferrari. It's a lot of fun. really enjoy it. If I get back into GT3 racing, this is the car that I'm probably going to drive. And now going from, we're going to switch gears. We're going to jump into two other cars that, that came live in the service, the Porsche and the Acura GTP cars. So, Sean has yelled at me and told me that I have to be in the Acura. So yay, JDM, yay. I'd rather be in the Porsche just because I love German cars. But anyways, I'll be nice. Let the old man have the Porsche, because that's who you see driving around in the Porsches nowadays are old people. Are you bringing the white scarf with you, Sean?
I can get that real
quick. Don't forget your leather cap too. You got it. So yeah, we're gonna try out the GTP cars. So yeah, Sean's gonna be in the Porsche, I'm gonna be in the Acura, and we're gonna be at Spa, because I think that's probably like the best representation for a GTP car. A lot of fast straights, sweeping corners, slow corners, so we can see how well this car does on a track that really has it all. And the old man needs the dentist cars fan. That's true. Just to go off of, so we kind of talked about it earlier. So the Porsche, Acura, they're the two new GTP cars in iRacing. And with these two cars on top of the BMW, on top of the Cadillac, this really rounds out the IMSA GTP class in real life. So, but we still have some other cars that race in the World Endurance Championship. We have the Peugeot, we have the Ferrari, and these cars haven't made it to iRacing yet, but as far as IMSA is concerned, they've covered the IMSA base. So, and then next year we're gonna have Lamborghini. We're gonna have a couple other brands joining the GTP class, starting with Le Mans next year. But so we got the Porsche 9, the GTP car. So this car uses the actual 918 Spider engine that was put in the Porsche back in the days, and they took that, it's a V8. And they mated it with, with the Williams hybrid system to produce. I can't remember how much. I think like over 600 horsepower. And while the chassis is designed by Orica, the guys that build all the LMP2 cars. And then on the other hand, we have the Acura. So the Acura was built by HPD, so Honda, powertrain division, and that is using a twin turbocharged V6. That's found the same engine that's kind of found in their GT3 cars, and it's going to also mated with a hybrid system to give it that boost in power. So, I mean, we could take. So if Sean is in the pits, are you in the pits yet? No. Introduces a radio. Sorry, I'm in the car. I'm gonna get out of the car real quick. I'm gonna show you guys how this car looks on the outside. We can look at it from a couple different angles. See, so like that's the car. You can't see it.
Here, I'll leave mine in pit lane. I'm gonna refill my coffee.
Oh, you good, buddy? I gotta.
I'm in though too.
All right, cool. So.
And I'm behind you on pit lane. So if you look at the car that way.
All right. I'm gonna show them the Acura real quick. Get a good look of it. That's the rear end. So this is the front of the car. It looks mean. It looks aggressive. It kind of looks a bit like a modified LMP2. If you take away like the front splitter, the very top splitter, I mean, it kind of does look like an LMP2 car. But I mean, design-wise, it looks very, very nice. Oops. Let me look at the rear end a bit. Very, it's got some really, tight angles to it. Yeah, I do like the new headlight design for it. But all in all, to me, it just looks kind of like a modified LMP2 car. Doesn't really look too much different. So because Sean is just got into the car. Let's see if we can go to Sean. So he's there. Get out. Let's take a look at his car. So the Porsche. I mean, if you guys have been watching endurance racing, it's. I don't know if you want to pull out in front, Sean.
Okay.
So we can get a better look at it. Yeah, so we can get. All right. So here. Let's get to a good.
Forget.
There we go. So that's the Porsche right there. It's very curvy compared to the Acura. It doesn't have a lot of angles like the Acura does. It's just got a very basic, sleek, curvy design to it.
Like a 50s model compared
Kinda.
to a 2000s model.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a little Marilyn Monroe to it. No.
I mean, yeah, when you compare it to the Acura looks very sleek, looks sleeker, more angular to the Porsche. I mean, the Porsche, to me, Sean, at least, I'd say it's like borderline boring.
If you think about Porsche style, like if you put, and this is an arguable thing as much as I love Porsche, but if you put Porsche into the supercar class, in general, they're pretty nondescript,
Right.
Cars compared to all the other supercar brands, so, I think it's fair. I mean, I don't know if elegance is cute would be the word for Porsche, right?
Right.
I mean, I love Porsche, but they're not. I mean, other than like, did you see Gran Turismo the movie?
No. I was waiting for you to review it before I go watch it.
That white Porsche.
Yeah.
In the movie at Nordschleife when they're just talking is maybe the coolest Porsche I've ever seen.
Okay.
Anyway, other than that one, I don't think of them as like being beastly looking cars for the most part. Okay, they're kind of Herbie, right? There's a resemblance to Herbie in a Porsche, except for this one. But all right. So before we get started, I just need you guys to know I have never turned a lap here.
You've never turned a lap at Spa?
No, I've never been here.
How's that possible?
I don't know, but I've never seen this downhill uphill thing in front of me. All
Are
right.
you joshing me?
Yeah, a little bit. All right, I've never driven the car.
I'm with you. I've never driven the car either. This would be a first for me.
But I have a feeling it's gonna be a little bit like that Cadillac.
I mean, right off the bat, I can tell you I am not happy with the sound of this engine right off the bat.
How come I don't see our game
What do you mean you don't see my game?
on our stream?
Should be.
I see your thumbnail.
Your thumbnail?
I see your thumbnail.
What? Let's go and look. Did you have it paused?
No? Am I not live?
You might be not because I see it. We're good.
Oh, yep. You know what? Yep. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad you're running the stream.
Hi, ATR Racer. But, I mean, like, I'm revving the engine right now, Sean.
Yeah.
I hate you right now.
Why? Oh, for putting you in the Honda?
This Honda does not sound good. It sounds like... It sounds like a lawnmower.
Because I ride this little miniature motorcycle, I'm used to that sound.
Right.
Lawnmower generator sound. The Porsche's not overwhelming compared to like the Cadillac.
I think
it's not. Certainly not. Oh, my oil temp's getting high.
Okay, we gotta start going then.
and it's fragile apparently.
All right. Oh, you broke it. All right, I'll wait for you. I mean,
I just was making sure I didn't have it broken.
Yeah.
No, it's not telling me I need to fix it. All right, we're good.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. It does sound like a Honda normally sounds. But right off the bat, I'm not happy with the sound of the engine.
Look at all these technicals, all these lights and flashy things inside my car with me.
Whoa, this car is twitchy.
It's like the space shuttle. Whee!
That's how mine sounds right now.
7 gears.
Whoa, this car is really twitch.
I didn't brake enough.
Let me just fix the brake bias real quick. Whoa. Gotta warm up those tires a little bit. Let me fix the brake.
Cadillac for the win. Yeah, the sounds of the Cadillac would maybe make me pick that car, even though I like Porsches so much. Now, I can't. No, I was going to say I've never owned a Porsche. I have owned a Porsche.
All right, owning a miniature model doesn't count.
No, I owned a 914.
Okay.
Does that count?
All right.
But does that count? Is arguable?
I guess.
Now, some, myself, would say it's one of the greatest Porsches ever made. Oh my God, I said it. And then I did own, I guess I was a part owner in the 924 Lemons car.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if that fully counts either because, well, 924 is pretty much a VW.
I mean,
but I have officially owned a Cadillac.
Okay.
So I had a CTS. Loved it. Oh, I didn't set up my fan. That sucks. We'll switch at some point.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll switch so you can get the Porsche sound, Phil.
I mean, so just
Ultimate out of 928 turbo. Damn.
There you go.
So if you know, only two total Porsche nuts would even know or remember this, but there's the parking lot scene in Days of Thunder where he's talking to Nicole Kidman. They're on the rooftop of a parking lot, and there's one of those 928s with a full body kit in the background in white. Oh, I'm way late on the brake. Oh my God, we're just gonna. Whoa, how's that grass? How's that grass? It's bumpy. Well, 2.8 seconds to bleed off.
Yeah, and just again, just a disclaimer to everybody, we are using the baseline iRacing setup. We haven't done any tweaks. So what we're driving is what iRacing provides you. I mean, so far the
I
don't know, the Acura drives okay. I mean, it drives like a Honda Civic. No, I'm kidding.
So I think for me, handling wise, this is similar, obviously, right? We're in that same class of cars as when we did the BMW and the Cadillac. I don't know what how it translates into power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I don't, which car is faster, I don't know. But this almost goes back to what we were talking about with the previous car, the Ferrari. But like, I actually, the Cadillac for me and that thumping V8 did really kind of work for my vibe, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm just starting to get comfortable with this thing, though.
I mean, no, you get it wrong. Like, this car right now, as I'm driving it, like, it doesn't feel bad in its driving characteristics. It drives what you would expect out of a prototype car. I mean, it's downforce, so, you're going to need the downforce to go through the corners. But what I'm not enjoying out of it so far is that, the revving up, the car doesn't seem to get louder the higher it gets up into the RPMs. I'm having to rely more on my rev lights to shift than I'm actually having to on the engine note itself.
Right.
It's like I'm hitting the rev limiter way before I can even tell that the car is hitting its max revs, which I don't really like. Like, I like to be able to know where my car is in the rev range, and this car really is not doing that. I'm learning how to shift this car using my rev lights and not through the sound of the engine. Because it's a very muted sound. Unlike the Cadillac, where the Cadillac is just screaming America at you, as Sean would put it.
Yeah, it is. Buck 05, man.
I mean, I'll give it. This car is a little twitchy coming out of corners, so there's a little bit of throttle oversteer coming out of the corners. So that's something that you got to watch out for. As in all of the LMDH cars or the GTP cars, there's different deployment modules on this car. So you can turn off the hybrid technology completely. You can put it in attack mode. You can put it in qualifying mode where you're getting 100% of the battery power. You can put it in balance mode where it's using the battery up on the straights and it charges up on the when you're braking, because it's Kern's technology. It uses your braking power to recharge. And then you got the build mode. The build mode is where it's only building the power as you're going through the braking. It's not deploying any power as you're on the straightaway. Oops, I'm gonna get a black flag real quick.
That is a lot of work. What you just said about this car.
So normally you would have it in balance mode, right?
I mean, a fighter pilot gets a co-pilot, you know?
Right. So, if you've never driven a GTP car before, it's just like Formula 1 cars. You've really got to know how to manage your battery to really maximize the potential of your car. You've really got to know when you can put the car in attack mode, when you can put it in balance mode, when you need to put it in build mode on different parts of the track. So if you're in the very curvy areas of the track, you want to put your battery in build mode. That way, because you build up all that energy battery. And then when you come up on a straight, you want to put it in attack mode so you can deploy all that energy on the straightaway to maximize your top speed. And this is something like a lot of the endurance drivers have to deal with when they're driving these cars, is they have to know when they deploy their energy. So, I mean, you can use it, and it's not just for driving faster. You can use it to drive defensively if you're defending a position. Like if you're really good at knowing where to deploy your battery, you can stop somebody from passing you. If you're trying to pass somebody, same thing. You need to learn where you can deploy that power so you can make the overtake on the person ahead of you. So to that, there's like a little bit of a steep learning curve to these cars if you ever think about jumping into the GTP cars.
Mirror's audio went away.
I'm right here.
I went away.
You're right here.
Oh.
I was pulling up next to you.
Sorry. One thing I just keep forgetting. Isn't it weird how iRacing loads different settings for if you launch versus the old UI versus new UI?
Yep.
So it switched me back to 1440, and I'm like, why are all my graphics tiny?
So Sean, how are you enjoying the Porsche that you wouldn't let me drive?
Now that the tires have warmed up and I've gotten used to the RPM range, well, now, I smack talked overly computer controlled cars because, it takes the wheelman thing and puts a different...
Right.
Well, instead of being that guy with amazing throttle control, right, and just like the ability to just sense what the car is doing at every moment, it becomes a precision thing. And I'm not trying to take away from that because it's just a different discipline of racing, right?
Right.
And this is that. It's like, well, this car here, if you know the speed of the corner, it is a point-and-click car. Right? Mm-hmm. Because if you get it to the right speed, there should be no problem finding endless grip.
Right.
Right? Now, obviously, if you go in 20 miles an hour, capable more than the car can do, it's gonna end poorly. But you know, this car is about perfection. It's about hitting your marks. It's about optimizing and maximizing those electronics and all of those things. You know, in NASCAR, we are thrilled at the strategy that goes into just figuring out, like, you know, fuel and pit strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is on the fly strategy. You know, it's endless on the fly strategy. Full throttle through Eau Rouge, no problem, by the way. Not at all. I mean, you don't even have to try hard. Like you said, the audio is a little disappointing. I'm getting no verification from the car, but it gets back to, well, yeah, I'm supposed to drive more by the digital array than I am the sounds of the motor, right?
Right.
And because it's about optimizing every RPM, you know, if you want to be the best of the best. The difference between the super fast and the slower will be that ability in this car. To not just have the setup, but the awareness of when and how and why to do those various different things that you can do. But if I were going to do an endurance race, right? Now, I don't want to have to do that many. Oh, shoot. We'll test out the grass at Spa. If I were going to do an endurance race, I don't want to have to do that much work beyond driving. But on the other hand, I mean, is it safe to say that by comparison to what we do, this is an easy car to drive? Turge, no, but I'm going to make sure I switch that right now when I get out of the car. I'm going to make sure to look at that and see. But you wouldn't hear. Amir needs to do it for you guys to get the effect, but I'll check it out on my end.
Yeah, I'll do it after we get your thoughts done, Sean.
But it's an easy car to drive. It's not hard to drive or get around. You know, it is very fast. It's got phenomenal brakes. So I think the only thing that's difficult is, you know, finding and figuring out your marks and controlling the speed. Because look, we're at 130, 150, 170 going into Eau Rouge, 174 coming out, 180. Yeah, this thing's fast. We're gonna hit 183, seems to max with our aero setup right now. So that's a lot of speed to bring back down. It's even more impressive right here from like third gear off the corner, jumping up from 100 all the way up to almost 145 before braking for this corner. Sorry, I missed my braking zone because I'm trying to read my speedometer. So yeah, it is a really capable, but if you slow it down, again, endless grip. You can almost, if you're within corner speed, you would actually have enough grip. Let's slow down and get with it. Oh, Amir's not in there.
I've got it on TV.
Oh, you're watching me.
Gotcha,
gotcha. So, but it's got so much grip that, like, you would be able to dive to the inside if you needed, right? Or pull to the outside of the corner to avoid something. It's not super tail happy, so when you talk about throttle application coming off a corner, well, we have a real fast stretch here, so it'll be hard to give you a demonstration of that. But through the fast section here at Spa, you don't have to think about lifting at all, just like Eau Rouge. It's just pick your line, but you can be well off. So let's just like miss the line, and we've missed the line and just completely crank the wheel a little more. Now, let's show off the corner throttle response. So I'm into first gear. I'm going to stab it, and you hear it. The car was just completely rejecting my request for speed because it was going to send me around. Now, a little more controlled version. Yep. Now, that was a beautiful version, and that was what I was talking about, where electronics will make the car faster. It threw just enough in to prevent me from oversliding, but really did allow that throttle to kick in. So it's got some pretty advanced electronics, which is, again, what comparing it to like that Ferrari, this is really easy. I mean, just mash on the brakes. there, a little lockup at the very end, but we were able to bleed off a full 100 miles an hour before we got to lockup. So yeah, really, it's sort of funny how the faster cars, but what makes this difficult are the things that I don't want to deal with. What makes this car difficult is I don't want to have to be looking at my dash. I don't want to have to be making adjustments to engine and mapping and retainment systems. I want to drive, and I want to wonder and worry more about that guy in front of me. And I think, but again, you guys have clowned me for being the old man a few times today, right?
That was only me, man.
Hey, in my day, like Ford versus Ferrari, yeah, you might be able to lay down and that throttle all the way to the floor and get a little more on that guy. But and you hear those valves start rattling, and you're like, ooh, I don't know how many more of those this thing's got out of it with 200 miles to go. To me, that's such a beautiful part of man and machine, and I think it's different. This is more. This is like being a fighter pilot. It really is. Where's my co-pilot to handle all that crap for me?
Right.
Tried to zero. Will they allow? Let's look and see what we can do with our traction control from in the car. Look at all these things you can do from in the car. So it's telling me I've got ERS battery charge of 55%. I'm in balanced MGU deploy mode. That's the other thing. You would need a whole wheel, like if you mapped your wheel to do this car, it would be absolutely useless if you jumped into the Ferrari or the Mazda, because you'd have so many things mapped on your wheel that you would never need in those other cars, and you'd like, oh no, I have a pit in button there, or my chat there, or the mute driver, right? And it's like, no, because how are you going to switch from no deploy, qual, attack, balanced, or build mode? Target battery is 50. I'm at 55. Brake bias target, brake bias migration, front anti-roll bar setting, rear anti-roll. This is all from within the cockpit, you guys. Traction control slip and traction control gain. So the request was to put them both at 0, which I'm going to go ahead and do. Looks like 1's the lowest you can dial in. So we're going to go slip and gain at 0, and I'll give it a quick whirl just to see how sketchy that is. And then we should switch, probably. Sorry about that. And and the other question that was asked was motion. I am in the R-Seat D-Box HFL4 platform.
Which your review for that comes out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on vacation, so it's been a little delayed. Also, I've just been really taking my time because I'm having too much fun. Which, this is a problem that I have at times, but I get so into it where, like, I'm going to go drive to summarize some thoughts, and the next thing you know, I'm 30 laps into a session because I'm now hot lapping and competing against myself. All right, here's a high speed, no traction control, and it was just fine. This will be the other critical is coming off of the final corner.
It's like,
oh, but we got to slow it down. We got to slow it down enough. We'll still get there.
there
yeah,
you go.
see?
Oh, nice spin out of there. Alright, so you're doing that. I'm going to jump back in. I just changed mine to helmet mode, so I chose the closed face helmet mode.
Oh, I'm going to do that too.
Alright, so I'll wait for you. Or if you want to, if you want to try the open face, because you're more used to open face helmets, aren't you?
No.
No? Okay.
I've never had an open face.
Oh.
Ever. For anything. Oh, that seems like half a helmet.
Yeah. So I got the helmet mode right off the bat. It feels muffled, like if you really had a helmet on. Like, I don't know if I like it.
Oh, so we've got earplugs, earmuffs,
Yep.
open face, closed face. So I'll go open face just
Okay.
for, even though. What's the XA2 replay main compressor? It says replay, so I have a feeling it doesn't affect me now.
So, as I'm driving it, it feels very muted, muffled, really, really muffled. It is, Brian. So they came out for this new patch. It just came out with this new patch, the helmet mode. So the close, it feels very muffled. The sound now feels a lot more. There's distant, I guess, if that's the right word to use. I don't know.
Joa, you nailed it. You nailed it, Joa.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I've driven I've been in race cars wearing a closed helmet, and it does not sound anywhere like this. Even with the helmet on, you still hear the roar of the engine. You hear everything.
Well,
this. Yeah.
I was talking about this on Friday's show, I think. There's this intensity of being in the helmet,
Right.
and it isn't actually audio. I mean, it's partially
Right.
audio, but it's it's the whole intensity of racing and going 100 miles an hour. And so it's not necessarily just audio, but that's one of the things that I think sims across the board are lacking. It's just that when you're doing 100 in a car, you know it.
Yep.
Like, hey, I'm going 100. I feel it, in my soul. And I think that the muting the audio in the helmet, so even though I used that word to describe what I was talking about, I don't think that's actually the right direction. I'm doing ear plugs.
Yeah, so to me it feels like all they really did was added a sound effect to give it like this more muffled, sound where, yes, there's a barrier between you and the car. Now, to be honest, I think it's actually making my driving worse, to be honest. Because now it's getting, especially in this car, because the engine note is already muted. It was already hard for me to tell when to switch gears. This now just makes it even worse.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say about it. I already had a volume control. So what it did was put an odd effect. So it's not just muted, but it's flattened and muted, right? And maybe this is something that I prefer about sim racing, is that we actually do have better audio than real life racing. And let that, because we're trying to make up for a lot of things that we in real life, right? The sound, and then if it was too loud, that easy. The muted effect, I don't think it's nothing I would do.
No.
But it's weird, Brian, because it's like you'd still turn the level up to whatever level of loudness. It's maybe not as raspy.
Yeah.
It knocks a lot of those super duper highs off of it. So on the high end frequencies, yes, it is actually quieter. Overall, it's still volume. So volume is volume, but it's they've flattened it. They've removed the peaks, it seems. I'm turning it off right now, by the way. So that's cool. I'm sure it was something that some real life racers might have requested. So people who've spent more time in real life cars and helmets than in sim came to iRacing and were like, hey, it's really, really obnoxiously loud, right? So I'm sure that's why it was added. For me, I'll keep sim sound going. I like in fact, we were happy when they added the X2 vibrance, right? That was like vibrance when they added the X2 audio. And it's like, this is like going back to the old audio and then a little less from that.
Yeah.
I got to get that fan going.
Yep.
I'm scorching.
So yeah, while you go turn the fan on, I'll give my final thoughts on the Acura, and then you come back and you give your thoughts on the Porsche before we move on.
I think I just gave my.
Oh, you did? Okay. So
I think I've said everything I have to say about it.
So my final thoughts on the Acura is,
I want to hear this.
I would kick Sean out of the Porsche, steal the Porsche, and leave him in the dust with the Acura.
And I'd be like, no problem, because I'm just going to take the Cadillac.
I mean, no. I mean, I'm joking aside. Like the Acura is a fast car. My gripes are the engine note. It's really hard for me to discern when to shift gears because of there's not really much of a variation change in the revs of the car, so it makes it hard for me to know when to shift gears. I'm having to rely more on my dash than I am on the actual engine notes. For me, that's just me personally because I prefer using the sound of the engines to shift my gears versus looking at my dash. The car was very stable going up Eau Rouge, going through the high-speed corners. Very, very stable. Never had any issues. Like, the only time I had issues with this car was coming out of the slow corners, where I get on the throttle a little too early. It could get a little twitchy, so not on the slow corners. I say like the medium speed corners. The medium speed corners, the car would get twitchy. But then when I go through the slow corners, it just felt like, you know, if I'm in first gear, the car just felt like forever for it to get back up into that rev range, for those turbos to kick in, and for the car to actually start going again. So it kind of felt slow coming out of the very slow corners. It might be just my personal, like, how I felt in the car. It might not be how it is in real, you know, in the sim, what's really happening. But for me, I really prefer the BMW. Like, I've driven the BMW, I've driven the Cadillac. I prefer the BMW and the Cadillac over the Acura. Porsche I haven't had a chance to drive yet. That's all Sean. So he can give his take on which 3 of the cars that he likes. So while he does that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the next session set up so we can move on. And he can give his thoughts on the car.
I'm actually pulling up the specs.
Okay.
Because this is what's cool. So more than trying to focus on like a preference, right? Because what's cool though is that we have 4 distinctly different types of car.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at the Cadillac, for example, you're looking at a 5.5 liter V8, naturally aspirated, 7-speed gearbox, makes about 670 horsepower. Let's remember that number, 670. The Acura does the same thing at 667 horsepower, so it's 3 horsepower less. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a 2.4 liter twin turbocharged V6, which totally changes. Now, let's get back to the way they drive. That Acura is just not going to have a whole lot of umph off the corner compared to the Cadillac by the nature of the platform. That V8 is going to give you some torque that you're not going to get out of a twin turbocharged V6. That is just like when you look at how you build and why you put certain components on engines, you know, turbocharges are about high RPM. Now, with that said, at the top end, that Acura probably comes to life.
Yep.
So when you really get into the groove and you're like in those third gear high speed corners, you might find that Acura has pull forever coming off of those corners that the Cadillac does not. So and again, what I'm describing might also suit or fit your driving style, right? They're distinctly different. The BMW is a little bit more like the Cadillac in that it's a V8, but it's also a twin turbocharged engine. So again, you've got turbo lag. When you use a turbo, you're going to get better horsepower up end, but you're going to probably give up a little bit of torque. Now, it only makes 665, so it's 5 horsepower less. And then finally, lastly, the Porsche, which is surprisingly a V8 coming out of Porsche. You'd expect a V6 out of a Porsche. Twin turbocharged V8. And do we get a horsepower? Yeah, 670 on the nose. So, you know, they're all right in that same ballpark within 5 horsepower. They're all using different platforms to do it, and all of those are going to give a little bit better throttle response at different times. Yep. Not that you would take the Corvette to Ledenon, but I can tell you don't want to drive that Corvette at Ledenon coming off that final corner.
No.
Right? All that torque is just going to kill you. So yeah. Now, with that said, yeah, I think the great thing though is seeing 4 different platforms. They all look completely different. So if they're on the track, one thing that's always kind of bothered me about like upper level racing is they get more and more modern, and they all sort of tend to take one similar shape that you can't even tell the difference in brands when you're looking at them when they're out on the track, right? And it's like, oh, big deal. It's a BMW my ass. It's like, well, in this case, you can tell the BMW from the Cadillac, from the Porsche, from the Acura, at fan in the seat distance, which is cool. I like that. So, all right, those are my final thoughts.
All right. No, I mean, you're totally right with it. Again, yeah, different. I mean, it kind of shows, how, and this is one thing I love about racing, where, they've given these different manufacturers, like, all right, here are the parameters of where you can build your car. And this is where I prefer kind of like more IMSA the IMSA races or the WEC races compared to Formula One nowadays. Like, there are so many restrictions in Formula One. Like, it's crazy. Like, when you have more lawyers trying to figure out where the gray zone is than actually developing the car, like, there's something wrong with the rules. Whereas, like, I enjoy, like, with the IMSA and WEC is like, all right, here are the parameters, and build a car however way you want within those parameters. Like, you could go for a V6, you could go for a V8, you can go for a V10. We don't care, as long as you don't go above this kind of horsepower. Once you get back on track, we'll implement a BOP, to see, but go nuts, kind of go nuts with your car.
Yeah.
And we've seen, like, we've tried the different GTP cars where, none of them drive the same way. They all have very, very different styles of driving. The BMW is like, all right, you don't have to worry about anything in the BMW. You just get in there and just drive that thing. The Cadillac, you were saying in the last review, like, it drove like a freaking muscle car around the track. The Porsche Pro, you said the Porsche drove with a little bit more elegance. Like, same thing. You didn't have to worry about anything. All the gizmos and electronics and the gadgets took care of it. You just had to mash the gas pedal.
Yeah, and the power came on for the most part at the point that you were out of danger.
Yeah, so, like, I'm really enjoying that now. We're seeing, like, these variations, like, these cars. Same thing with the GT3s and everything else. I don't know. That was kind of my rant on Formula One, just a little bit. I'm just doing this so we can wait for the next server to pop up, which it already did.
Did it?
It did.
I was looking for the steering wheel by your name.
Oh, gotcha. All right, I'm joining it now.
The lazy way. What are we doing next?
So next we're gonna be doing. This is more of your realm, Sean. We're gonna be doing the 1987 Pontiac Grand Prix at Kern County.
Kern.
Same thing. We've never driven these cars. We've never been on this track. So the reaction you're getting from us is, initial reactions to everything.
I have driven past Kern 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't been in the race. You haven't been, like, in the track or anything.
I've never even been, like, to the facility.
Okay.
I've just been like, oh, there it is. There it is.
I'm just kind of like, man, like, I'm, what is it? About 45 minutes away from Spa, but I've never been to Spa before.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that's different.
I mean, yeah, it's one thing going to Nürburgring because the track is always open, where Spa, you have to wait for a track day, but then it's so expensive.
Right. Okay, how come it didn't do its normal joiny thing?
Did you withdraw from the last session?
Oh, yeah, I did there.
Okay.
It just took a little while. All right, I'm going to go change out my drink, grab a fan, go to the bathroom while it's loading.
All right.
I think I hit. Yep,
I mean, I would talk about these cars, but I don't know anything about these cars.
V8, America.
V8, Merca!
Rusty Wallace.
Because I was never a NASCAR fan, so, like, I really know nothing about these cars.
Well, this is back when a NASCAR kind of was a car.
Okay.
And I think that in America, and I've cited this on the show before, but a lot of people made the statement or talked about, what wins on Sunday sells on Monday.
Right.
And that was the Ford versus Chevy versus Pontiac versus, battle of NASCAR.
Okay.
These cars looked like the car that you could purchase at the showroom. these cars still had a lot of metal,
Mhm.
and bumpers, and and were still somewhat rooted to and grounded to their lineage
Okay.
versus like even now, like when yes, I know Ford has a certain shape and just
Mhm.
whatever, but like they're all built by race
Yeah.
engine companies, right? Like Ford doesn't make them, or even if they do, it's their completely. There's nothing about a NASCAR. There's nothing stock about a stock car.
Right.
But actually, that was no, even that. You think Days of Thunder was even after this era?
Right. It was. Yeah.
Days of Thunder was when you had a big nose
Mhm.
piece instead of like these cars. Look at you got a grill,
Yeah.
you
It looks
know,
just. It looks like.
a real
Looks
grill.
like what we find on a
That's not a
car. Yeah.
sticker. Yeah, it's anyway. All right, let me get the fan going at
Okay.
least and go to the
So
bathroom.
yeah,
I'll be
do
right
that.
back.
I'm gonna go up and grab me a drink. So guys, we're gonna take a little bit of a break. And then we'll come back to this. So I'm gonna get up and grab me a drink. Sean's gonna do his thing, and we'll. So if you guys want to go grab a drink, do your thing. We'll be back in like 5 minutes or so. All right. So I'm back. I'm not sure if Sean is back yet. But so anyways, while we're here, we're chilling for a bit. If you guys got any burning questions, if you guys got any comments on some of the content that you guys have already tried, what do you guys think? So far, you got on everything that's come out in iRacing so far. I'm gonna catch up on your comments too. So Jonathan, you grabbed the 963 mod for AC today. Okay, so how are you enjoying it? How I know. No, Callum. I actually preferred the Ferrari over the new Acura. That's just me. To me, it was just a more lively car to drive. It was more fun to drive, more engaging to drive than the Acura was.
Oh shit! 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 Never take your steering wheel off
Uh-oh.
when you're in the car.
You're not one of those stunt drivers, Sean.
It was going a million miles an hour. All right, we're going to an oval rim for this.
Oh, I don't have an oval rim.
Neener. Oh, look at these cars. Oh, I'm getting all nostalgic.
All right. So Sean, I don't know if you actually mentioned it when you were talking about this car. Did these cars have restrictor plates back in the day?
No.
Or they were just like
This is
build
before.
as fast as you can and go?
It was the Bill Elliott Thunderbird. I believe these were the cars that literally forced them to make restrictor plates, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Because it was the 87 Thunderbird is the other car in
Right.
this group. And that was the awesome Bill from Dawsonville car
Okay.
that did like 200 and something miles an hour at like Texas, I think it was. It might have been.
Okay.
All right. I have no clutch on, and I sped out of the pits.
Oh, you're already out on track. Yeah, I think it's and out of this class of cars, I think what is it? I think the only thing that's left is the Oldsmobile, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure if Oldsmobile was running that year. It might have just been the 3.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah, if only Josh was here. Where's the
Right.
stat man? Jonathan Hather. I like the Cadillac better than the Porsche. If I were going to run that class tomorrow, my instinct would be to run...
It's alright, I can fix that.
What?
Huh? Oh, I got a black
Fix
flag.
What? Oh.
There we go.
Oh, I almost need to shift. Buick LeSabre was beautiful. Sam would know.
Whoa.
This is a lot of car for this track.
It is.
I would need to change my gearing massively. I almost could probably just run 3rd gear. It won't give me. Come on, baby. Oh, because I'm not clutching. I forgot I have 0 help on. Oh, Amir coming down low. Good time to talk about our Oval Series that runs on Monday night.
That is. Yeah. So you guys have an Oval Series that runs on Monday nights?
Yeah, it's been good racing.
All right.
I did like the last race of last season and the first race of this season so far. I'll miss next week's race, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm just running in 3rd gear, by the way.
I'm going between 2nd and 3rd. Yeah. Yeah, we probably should have picked a bigger track than this. I mean, these things, but oh my gosh, but the sound on this car is. Whew.
This is what a NASCAR sounded like. Oh, that's not slow enough. Oh, geez. Jonathan, I am running. Oh, into the wall.
Bye.
Into the other wall. All right, we might as well hurt it. Oh. I'm using IMB gloves, and these are a really old pair at this point with a lot of miles on them, and I think I'm going to be getting a new pair fairly soon.
We should be getting our new stuff from them pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, look at that burnout. Oh, I love it.
I mean, oh my gosh, man! Like I can't even imagine like these cars and just big power. Oh, like right here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, slide on out. Oh my. That was just like just a touch of freaking throttle, and that car just went. Oh, here we go. See it in the replay. Like, just mash the throttle just a little bit and spin the car out. And there goes Sean. He was jealous of my purple car. All right. I mean, if this was me, this is what every single race car engine would sound like.
Yeah, there you go. Whoa, I think I scorched my rear tires. Oh, I got a black flag?
Hold up, let me clear you.
No, I'm backward.
Oh, I even got one too.
Where? You 40. Okay, I'm coming.
Oh.
Kern. All right, so it's a lot of camber for a little track. It is a little track. What is this, like 3/8 of a mile?
Something like that, yeah.
It'd be probably really fun in a grid of street stocks.
Did NASCAR ever race back here in the day, or?
No, this place didn't exist when NASCAR would have run here.
Okay. So this track is a very old track.
No, it's really not very old at all. Sees a lot of local, like, it's like a local track, so you can see a lot of late model stuff.
Okay.
Late models would be fun here. Actually, late models would be really fun here. This is too much car. It's the wrong car. I mean, I'm sure they raced something like this back in the day, right? Not NASCAR, but 700 horsepower American muscle.
Right.
But it was probably just like this, where you're like going dreadfully slow in the corner, and then you got mad horsepower to run down the straightaway, and then slam on the brakes because it can't get around this corner at all.
What I'm noticing with this track, as opposite to a lot of other NASCAR tracks, is like this track has a lot of I don't want to say elevation changes, but it has a lot of camber changes compared to other NASCAR tracks I've seen.
Half mile. You know what? Here, I'm gonna change my clutch configuration. I don't know, the stick shift. It's really weird trying to clutch with paddle shifters. Like, I don't mind blipping with paddle, but it's not even accepting that. So let's go to auto clutch.
I mean, surprisingly,
there we go.
So surprisingly for these cars, like, I'm actually really surprised by the braking. Like, the brakes are actually really strong in this car.
Old school NASCAR. Actually, way back then they did have a few kind of dipshit tracks on the schedule still, didn't they?
They did. I want to say they did, yeah.
All right, here we go. Now we can drive. Man, it is hard to get it to grip in the corner, though.
It is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, get off the corner, though. It slides the rear end out. Hell yeah. Now we're racing. Now that I got gears, now that I got a working gearbox. Seems like the two sides are not identical corners.
No.
Seems like the turn 1, 2 is narrower.
Yep. I'm just playing around with the car, not really driving it.
Oh, this would be such a long night. A lot of laps here.
I know, yeah. Hey, but at least the spectators have their camper vans out here.
Yep. So there is a dirt track here as well, which I don't think we're going to bother doing. And not in the sim, but there is like a full-on like motocross track here as well. So Kern is like our racing facility, if you want to call it that. Oh, there you go. That's getting loose off the corner. One of the best effects in this D-Box, not that we're reviewing that right now, is if you have any lateral traction loss, it transmits it into like the stuttering that the tires would be, like the suspension would be bouncing because you're going the wrong way against it, right? And so you'd be getting this effect out of the tires. They're like grip, 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 loose, grip, loose, grip, loose, right? And so anytime, like if you're in the trucks and the rear end slides out, or in this car when the rear end starts to move, or if you get any four-wheel drift, You get a real jitter out of the sim, which is when you get real sensitive to it, it becomes one of those cues that, you know, immediately lets you know. So when you're really dialed into the car and, you know, you can do a little bit of sideways driving with confidence and comfort, at that point, you start to feel that jitter right before anything goes wicked with the car. Anyway, but when the downside is when you totally lose it, you get some serious crash effects because of it, and that's just from sliding, right? Like not even hitting the wall yet.
Yeah, like what I'm seeing so far, like I got the camera on you, Sean, just seeing how you're driving the car. I mean, it looks like a mean car. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the front end looks a little off to the rest of the car. It looks so tiny compared to the rest of the car. But it looks like a mean, angry car.
Whoa! Oh, there's the jitter and the slam. That's the other thing. This platform adds some consequences to your actions. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I am going to have to do two things when we switch, unfortunately.
What's that?
I have to take my dog outside. And I have to put a pizza or something in the oven because now we're into I'm starving.
All
and
right.
We have one car to go.
Yep, we got one left.
But my dog is giving me the look. And my dog's gotten really old recently. And so now he won't go out unless he needs to.
Right.
And so he'll like, I try to take him out like 6-7 times a day, right? But he's like, nope.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he'll just be sitting next to me giving me the look. And it's like, oh, I just didn't have a shifter on my rig at this today. I'm not opposed. I would talk about wanting to shift. This is the one. If I had the shifter, I'd be doing the shifter with the clutch work as well.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, for me, Sean, I really don't have much to say on this car because, like, I don't drive NASCAR. NASCAR's not really my thing. I mean, so because you got to go those things, we got one more car left. So far, what are your thoughts on the track and on the car?
Track is cool. You know, we talked about this off the air in talking about Ledenon, right? And like, so if you're like an international racing fan, you watch Formula One or whatever, you know all the big name tracks of most countries because that's where Formula One or big tours will go and frequent, right? And so whether you've been there or not, you are aware of them. Now, when you get to the local racer level, people who, you know, are doing it in each region of the world, and this is where it would get really tough if you were a simulation company. It's like, where do you start and stop? You know, we talked about Buttonwillow in our last show that we did this. We were at Buttonwillow, which is the road course equivalent of this particular track.
Right.
What it is, you know, it's only run by locals, but if you live in, you know, Southern California, you have been there a million times. You know, and if you're a racer, you know, that's your every other racetrack. You know, every other race on the schedule is back to Buttonwillow or Willow Springs, right?
Right.
I meant Willow Springs, not Buttonwillow, by the way, when I was saying that earlier.
Yeah.
And Kern is like that as well. So when you get to the oval guys, if you're a West Coast oval racer, you know, there are like if Billy Strange were here, actually, I think Kern might have been after his racing career.
Okay.
But, you know, they'd be like, oh, well, what's missing? You know, if you're like a dirt oval guy or a road oval guy, you're like, well, wait, where is such and such, or where is such, you know, and these are the tracks that we run. But it's really difficult when you get to this level, like for an iRacing, because the appeal to the world is going to be pretty minimal, right? Like who has heard of Kern County Raceway?
I'd never heard of it until iRacing said something about it. Yeah.
And nobody would unless you A, live in California, you've driven by it on the 5. And even then you wouldn't even know what it was named, right? Because it's not like it has huge signage or anything. It's just, I happen to know because I saw a track and I'm like, oh, what track is that? Right.
Yeah.
So I did some investigating. But, and I just think that if you're trying to create a club environment, it isn't about Spa and Monza, and it is about the Button Willows, the Thunder Hills, the and I think that is what this touches upon. Now, the difficulty I have in this case, it's great because you do get the dirt oval and the roundy round, right? But it's one thing to pay top dollar for Spa,
Right.
It's another thing to pay top dollar for just regional tracks.
Right.
And I don't mean that about Kern, but even like Ledenon. And it's not that Ledenon isn't a fantastic track. It's a great example of what I'm talking about. You and I love that track, right? But as the world has changed, we know damn well to have Spa in your game, you're going to have to shell out some money, right? Because Spa doesn't just let you do it for free.
Right.
I'm assuming. But when you start talking about a Kern County is probably more like, yeah, give us $50 and you can come scan the track and put it in your game. I don't know what the arrangement, but I can imagine that it is a fraction of what it takes to get Spa. Same thing with Ledenon. I could just imagine that without having Formula One gracing your circuit, you just don't have that same luxury.
Right.
And so then that kind of gets to a little bit of the financial politics of if they are going to start pursuing regional tracks. I understand that now on the flip side, it takes them the same amount of effort, man hours, to create the track regardless of those things. But I know licensing is a big part of the fees. And, should we, to an extent, paying full price for regional tracks is almost subsidizing the people who are buying the big tracks.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you have a point there. And I guess like this, what kind of, and I mean, and this is where you have the, I don't want to call them the iRacing haters. I'm more of like the realists when it comes to, iRacing. You got to be realistic. iRacing does charge you quite a bit for cars and for tracks. Like I can sit there and say, if you're going to scan Nürburgring, if you're going to scan Spa, if you're going to scan Silverstone, like those tracks, yes, I can see you paying a premium amount for those kind of tracks. But yeah, going back to Circuit Ledenon, going to Kern County where there are more regional tracks, like, should you be paying top price as you would for Spa or Silverstone or Nürburgring? Yeah, I don't agree there. Like, these tracks should be a little bit cheaper, I guess, because even if for me, like, I'm not an oval guy, I've bought oval tracks before, for like Texas or Daytona. Because those are tracks that I know, like, from other stuff or just in the news or but like Kern County, that's like a track I've never heard of. So why am I going to shell out, why am I going to shell out $15?
Because it's on Kern. The truck schedule and you're trying to win a championship.
And that's where I kind of think, like, now we're getting into this new era of sim racing. Like this, this style of what iRacing is doing. For you're having to pay a monthly sub. Now you're having to pay for content. That is a model that probably worked, let's say, 10 years ago. But now we're seeing all these other sims popping out. And they're doing things different ways. Like maybe it's time now for iRacing to rethink their subscription and their content purchase model.
I'll tell you what they need to do at the very least is a marketing campaign. So going way back when, they branded themselves as iRacing 2.0 for a little while.
I remember that.
And it's probably long overdue for them to do like iRacing 3.0 or iRacing 2023. And even though we who are on a subscription, it all just rolls over. The reason I say that is, in a lot of cases where you have additional DLC content, we would have shelved that game by now. So if we had been on Forza 6 and maybe we had spent an extra $80 on DLC, which is pretty much what we do with iRacing. Well, at some point we would have been sold Forza Motor 7, and our DLC would have been just fine, kind of lost, right?
Yep.
And I think there's a side of the gaming world who totally accepts that.
Mhm.
That is the norm. But when it's a 15-year evolution sim like iRacing is, you start looking at the things you've bought and never touch. And then you start to question those next purchases.
Yep.
And so even that Ferrari, when we were doing the Ferrari, I talked about, I'm like, wait, this is like the third version of this exact same car. Why do I need it? Why do I want it? Now, in driving it, it turned out to be unique, right? So it could have been a Lamborghini for all I know. But it you know, but again, it is sort of that point where I think people have been doing this forever. Do look at new content. I mean, like I think there was a time when like road guys would buy new oval tracks just because it was another track. But at this point, I'm assuming if you're a road guy, when they release a new oval track, you're like, I don't know. No. I bought enough oval tracks to just have them, but I don't need to keep doing that. Yeah, Caitlin, they're the worst about it. But see, you know, and if you think about it, though, you know, iRacing, all the sim companies are sort of fighting. The new business model really is, and I hate to say it, it's Candy Crush or something, you know, like, here, we're going to give you the game for free, and then we're going to basically somehow, some way keep you limited to like 15, 20 minutes a day of playing before you're either going to have to wait for new lives or buy lives or, you know, and that, you know, we people are so buy-intable to that it works, because look at every single game now. That is the business model, you know, outside of traditional gaming.
I mean, this is like, I mean, kind of think about it now. Like, to me, this is where I kind of equate iRacing like an MMO, like the World of Warcrafts, like the Star Wars, the Old Republic, because those games are monthly subscription, you know, games. You pay, you know, 12 to $20, you know, monthly to play the game. But then when they release new content, oh, you got to buy the DLC. So now you got to buy the DLC on top of the monthly service that you're paying for. So, but you don't hear, and this is kind of where, you know, I understand and don't understand kind of in the same way, because most MMO people that play MMOs, they never question it. They just go out, oh, there's a new update to WoW. All right, cool. I'm gonna go buy the new DLC. I'm gonna keep on paying my sub and keep playing.
Right.
No questions asked. But like, you know, in iRacing, this is where you get a lot of people asking, well, I'm already paying a sub. Why should I pay for this new content? And I think
you don't have to.
You don't have to. No. But I think this is more of, like, you know, I say like MMOs, like those DLCs come out maybe once a year, once every 2 years, where you got to pay for the new DLCs. Where iRacing, hey, you're getting it 4 times a year for this new stuff, and eventually it is gonna wear on you. And you know, if you don't buy in MMOs, if you don't buy the DLC, you can still keep on playing the game, enjoy it. But like in iRacing, like if you want to say you're doing the IMSA series, you know, in the GT3 cars, well, what if they add that track into that series? What do you got to do to keep on racing that series?
Well, and they do that. I mean, it's they don't, you know, we're not going to see Ferraris at this track, you know, but we will see the trucks there. We will see the street stocks there. You know, you can bet that everything under a certain horsepower level is going to have this track on the schedule if that's your thing. Brandon, I agree. Mesa Marin is a more known track for sure. I just looked. I only have a half an hour, Amir.
Okay. Well.
So should we switch to the last one, and I'll put my pizza in, walk the dog, and we'll come back to the SF23?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I'll get out of this.
While you do that, I will keep the viewers engaged. You do your thing. I'll get everything set up for the last track and car.
Okay. Cool. I'll be right back. I'll be as fast as I can.
No, so Kaylin, you're right, but I think with a lot of the MMOs, like, if you are headstrong about it, you still have the option of not buying it. You can still play the current content that you have and still play that. You don't have to go. You're not necessarily forced to go buy the new content. I think back in the day, some of the MMOs would force you to do that. But I remember I used to play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic back in the day, and you didn't have to buy the new content if you didn't want to. You could still keep on playing the game, do your thing. You just wouldn't have access to any of the new stuff that came out. Yes, because if you're in a guild or anything like that, you were kind of had to buy it so you could stay with your guild and things like that. That I agree. Uh, but like this is where iRacing for me kind of, yes, I can understand why people kind of throw shade at iRacing is, all right, hey, you're already paying the monthly fee. If you're a big fan of the IMSA series and they come out with a new track, let's say, they finally come out, I don't know what track's not on the circuit yet. Mugello. I know Mugello's coming out, but like Mugello, they go there. Well, you either have to not race for that week in that series that you really, really enjoy, or you have to go out and buy the new content so you can keep on doing your thing in iRacing. Yeah, exactly, Brian. I agree there. Um, why is my... There we go. My camera went off. Good. Well, Brandon, why are you gonna sell your sim rig, man? We're starting up our new road league here pretty soon. You gotta race in the new road league. What do you say? Super. So, well, I'll ask you guys while you're here. So, what are you guys thinking so far of the streams like this? So, previous iRacing review that we did, we kind of did it more. Uh, we did. It was a lot more of a review where we actually, was a lot of editing done to it and things like that. And now this time we're trying out the streaming part where we're giving you guys our live reactions to all this stuff. What do you guys prefer? What are you guys preferring so far? Because would you guys prefer it to be more of an edited content, or you guys like, all right, the streaming stuff has been pretty entertaining for you guys? Yeah, no, I feel you, Brandon. Um, yeah, when life sometimes gets in the way, it can suck a bit. I was actually having this discussion with one of my buddies. He was actually thinking about selling. He was thinking about selling his sim gear too, and I kind of had to talk him off the cliff because it wasn't really um it really wasn't the actual sim racing itself that was affecting him. It was other stuff that was going on in his life that was affecting him that kind of threw him off his sim racing game per se. Um, so I kind of convinced him like, hey man, just like take a month or two, maybe three, break away from sim racing. Like just get away from it completely. Let the let your stuff in your real life get straightened out a little bit, and then if you come back to it, you're still not happy with sim racing, then yeah, by all means, like just get rid of your gear, man. But I would hate for you, man. You've been with us for a long, long time. I'd hate for you to like to have to sell your gear all over again and then come back a year or two later is like having to try to rebuild your stuff all over again. Live action. Yeah, thanks, Kayleen. That's what we try to do. Me and Sean are like really try to play off of each other. We try to, I try to poke and prod at him a little bit, try to get, those little reactions off of him. So I don't. So how Sean used to do the TV mode? Sean has 2 different iRacing accounts, and so that's how he set up, his point of view, and then he would have the secondary count that would do the TV cam. Now, this really for us, this was really kind of going to what Joe was saying. Really, this was really more of a last minute thing for us. Originally, our plan was to actually sit down, tape, record, do our review, and release it. But we kind of ran into an issue of, well, so this weekend Sean is going on his vacation. Yay! He's gonna go do his biking. Not crash his bike, hopefully. I need Sean coming back to come back in one piece.
We all need that.
I don't think I can run the ship by myself. I might become a little too power thirsty.
even Sean needs that, by the way.
Yeah.
Come back in one piece.
And then I found out, I kind of found out recently that I have to go on a work trip next week. So that really wouldn't give me enough time to grab my content, Sean's content, edit it into a video. So this is where we kind of like yesterday, it was literally last night, we kind of decided, hey, Sean, what are we going to do about this? Because originally Sean was like, we'll stream it and we'll record it and edit it and make another video of it. But I'm like, oh, dude, I don't have the time. You don't have the time. So let's just stream it and go with it and see how it is. I mean, we're saving all of our replays anyway. So if we want to go back later on, take this video with our replays, make a much more cleaned up, detailed version of the review, we can do that too. But yeah, really, it was just like a last minute thing we decided to do. Originally, it was supposed to be an actual video, and we kind of, because of what's going on, we changed course and made it more of into a stream. And it also gives us kind of a way to more interact with you guys too. If you guys have questions, if you guys have things going on.
What I was going to say is, I think from doing this today, you had mentioned using my third account to do this with the TV view.
Yeah.
We had, like you said, this is supposed to be originally an edited piece and rehearsed and planned quite a bit, like the last time we did a season build update.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way this played out in so many ways that I'm thinking, oh, well, we could clean this up really well between now and the next edition. So we bring in that third camera so you guys get a TV camera view when we're playing around. And then the other is that we could set up our rooms in advance and just know that the 30-minute mark we're switching, or, even have enough overlap that we could switch whenever we want. But yeah. Are you starting another room?
Yep, it's already up. I'm joining it right now. We are going to be doing the super formulas at the brand new Zandvoort layout.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, again, so like you guys have seen, and you guys have seen like the shift in our content that's been going on really in the past year per se, where, let's say, I mean, I don't know, put it nicely and kindly, like I would say like we kind of went through an identity crisis at the Sim Pit, where we were just going everywhere, but we were going in all these different directions. We decided like, nope, we're gonna shift, we're gonna focus our efforts, on our things, and with really the number one goal is just to have fun, and kind of like what we talked about in the last video is like, it's cool to do these reviews by ourselves, but it's much cooler to do it with your friend, and we can poke and prod at each other, make fun of if the person's 30 years your senior, poke fun at his prune juice diet.
Well done. Well done. My secret prune juice Dr. Pepper.
Oh. Because we could just really just sit back and chill and just have fun and have you guys in here with us. And as we're doing these reviews, kind of me and Sean going off of each other and then you interacting with you guys. Yeah. Brandon, thank you. Yes, it's about time we hit the 50K. I think Sean, we won't really do any reactions until tomorrow because I think you're pretty much gonna have your big reaction for it tomorrow, right?
If I remember.
If you remember.
I'm kidding.
I mean, you are around Biden's age, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Where are my aviators?
What's his name? McConnell, where you just, you freeze at times, don't you? Anyways, getting back to it. So, guys, yeah, we are now in the Super Formula cars at Zandvoort. And for me, I kind of liken these cars to the F2 cars in the FIA series. These cars are mostly raced in Japan. And if you've seen this car, it really does look like an F2 car. More of the modern F2 cars got the halo.
It's got the tail of the brand new shots they just put out of that F2.
Yeah, it's got the exact tail of it. So I don't know if this is really like the F2, but they just called it Super Formula. I just want to check my controls real quick.
My reaction is to go on vacation. All right, we hit it. I'm out. Drop the mic.
So, all right, so I'm ready.
Oh, this thing's legit, huh?
Yeah.
This is a real. My rig moves, yes. So, Callum asked if my rig moves left and right. The answer is no. So there's no traction loss like the Ricmo Tech or the Next Level Racing one. However, it's got a lot of left and right tilt action, much more like a seat mover, but it's the whole rig because we're on 4 posts, 1 at each corner essentially. Okay, so new Zandvoort. Yep. I have never turned a lap here.
I mean,
but it seems really similar.
It's similar, but very different. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get run over by Amir.
Right off the bat, this is cold tires. Car is very twitchy.
This thing's fast.
It is.
Wow, we are just going from extreme to extreme here today. Come on, why aren't you more comfortable in that car after driving a 1987 NASCAR at Kern?
Me?
It's like no, any of us. Oh wow, this is like way more cambered on that final corner. Oh, look at Amir. Amir's like, oh, okay, old man.
Yep. Get out of my way.
6 gears. Whoa.
I mean, right here, like, this is how this dips. This is completely brand new. Oh, and I spun
it. Way cambered. Smooth. Zandvoort was always smooth, right? Yep. Now it's like glass smooth, though, isn't it?
Whoa.
It seems wider and, like, again, very smooth. Even this hump seems a little massaged compared to before.
I mean, they did a lot of track modifications just so they can get the F1 cars to be able to race here.
Still can't find the braking spot for that corner. Where's Samir? Oh, I'm gonna wait for you.
Yeah, I spun.
I don't know if I don't think I can put this whole thing on a traction loss. No, and you know, we could have a great argument about which axes are the most important. Yeah, there is a lot of banking, which again, getting back, see, this is the beauty of this versus a traction loss, is you get that left to right movement under swerving or under cambered moments. Or even better, my favorite is the front to back action, the dipping and the reclining that you get under braking and acceleration that you don't get from traction loss. Now, traction loss is very important, but as I mentioned, I was talking earlier, I don't get so much that slip feeling like you do with a traction loss system. What I get is a stutter or a jumping when I start to lose lateral grip. So right there under that corner, I don't think it was enough to see it, but there was a little bit of a dun 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 going on as I was getting a little bit of four-wheel slide out of the car. That is a dangerous corner with all that camber. This car is really fast. This is the car that Lucas Ordonez, so we, you know, talking a lot about Gran Turismo and Jan Martinborough. Lucas Ordonez was the original Gran Turismo winner. In the movie, they stated that Jan was, but it was actually Lucas Ordonez, who went on to have a very successful career as well. And I think the last thing, oh, that's too much. That's too much. The last thing he ran, if I'm not mistaken, was Super Formula in Japan. And now I believe he works for Sony, I believe, as like a Gran Turismo ambassador of some sort. Oh, it is just full throttle, no even thinking about lift off that final corner now. Oh, but it throws you out there at the last minute, huh?
Yep. I mean, right off the bat, I'm like, this car, yeah, Shaw was saying, man, it is a speed demon. You've got to really be careful with your throttle application because this car has no traction control.
That was weird.
So you've really got to be careful on your throttle, like right there. So I gave a little too much. Overcooked the tires.
Oh yeah, we got tires on tie downs. Oh, look at that. Oh my God.
Let's see. Let's look at your damage.
Watch the replay of my car. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to.
I got to come back in for repairs anyway.
When I was going backward on the track, my wheel was just like bouncing because it was hitting the ground, but the tether was holding it to the car. And it was bouncing up and down in the most realistic way.
Let's go back to it. All right, so here I am. Like, dude, I didn't even feel you hit me either.
It might not have read. Your car jumped a lot with lag at the same time.
Like, there you are.
So
yep, because your wheel broke before. Let's see if I can get a better view. All right. So yeah, if we look at the replay, like, I hit you, or you hit me. Yeah, you went like right through me. But then like right as you were starting to spin out, your wheel broke. And then bam, still on the tether. I
love it.
You know, Brandon, that was actually something me and Sean were kind of talking about before the stream. We counted about 20 open wheel cars already in iRacing. So
And this is almost an F2 car.
Yeah.
There's like what F2 car, and then there's the Indy car is almost the same.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, yes, was this car needed? Debatable. What I think if iRacing was, and this is one thing we've heard of iRacing, they're gonna start fixing the the ladders, right? If you're gonna fix the ladders, like unfortunately, you're gonna have to take some cars out, or make them legacy, to really clean up all these race series that are, I think, at the point where they're oversaturated.
Woo!
Oh,
yeah!
I saw that.
Yeah, that was awesome. Just a little too greedy on the gas on curbing and cold tires, and it just gave me the slightest hint of a warning, but honestly, it was too late.
Yeah.
Wow, that thing whipped around.
Yeah, it did. Because for me, to be honest, actually, what I would prefer for the next build, and hear me out for a second. I don't know if you tell me, Sean, if you tell me I'm crazy, I'll accept it. But I think the only update should be for next season is, all right, bring the rain. You know, no matter how much people hate it, love it, want it, bring the rain, nothing else, and actually clean up all the series. Like revamp the open wheel ladder, the GT ladder, the oval ladder, clean all of it up, and make an actual legitimate. All right, if you want to be in the oval ladder, here are the cars that you're gonna drive to get all the way to your A license. You're gonna do GT.
Yeah, like break off a list.
Yep.
Like that. We're not saying throw everything out, right?
Yeah.
It's just break off the ladder list and be like, all right, so now our licensing structure is going to be restricted to these cars, right? And it's going to narrow and funnel the competition into one stream instead of 10 variations. I love it. I think that'd be a great thing to do.
Like, because I think we're eventually, and I think people are already feeling this, is like there are too many series out there that are being ran at the same time, and I think if they actually consolidated it, they actually might have better turnout. And now you're giving people an actual road. Like, all right, if I am just an open wheel guy, I only care about open wheel cars. You have a ladder series that's right ahead of you. So all right, I need to buy these 4 cars. I don't have to worry about buying anything else to get my license up to where I want it to.
This thing's so fast.
It is.
Yeah, for me, it's like, okay, this is a really awesome car. But the real question is going to be, if this is the level or speed or type of car I want, which one in iRacing has the numbers? Because quite honestly, I really don't care if you call it an SF23, an F2. I don't care if you call it an Indy car. Where are the people? Where are the racing? Where is the racing going to be going on? Because that's what I want to be a part of, as much as worried about what car I'm actually in, to an extent. I'm not saying open wheeled for, tin top, but I mean, yeah, again, there are, a couple of cars in iRacing that are pretty close to this or similar in overall performance, let's say. I haven't looked at the garage and adjustment or what you can do in the car while driving on this one, but keeping all that in mind, well, if there's an average of 20 people in every race in this car and only 10 in the other, well, this is the one I want to run. I don't think the car difference is going to be enough to make me loyal to one or the other or care. Now, that's me. I'm not like a super open-wheeled, knowledgeable guy. There are others out there who are like, oh, but dude, the super formula, it's the blah, 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 and it's like, okay, well, that's cool. I get it. But I'm about the racing. Ooh, that final hump is really interesting, and could really cause some trouble. If you were in a tight race and on someone's ass and just not ready for what it does, it could send you right into that grass. Oh, just lighting up the tires going up the hill.
I actually prefer this new layout of Zandvoort.
You can really attack it.
Yeah. Especially when you come into the banked curve right here. And then we're over here, you can just take all of this flat out. No problems whatsoever. Hit the brakes right here, just so you can get your turn in. Maintain that throttle. Brake. Brake hard here.
I'm testing the gravel. Yeah, it slowed me down, but not enough.
Alright, here, make sure you get that. There we go. Brake hard in this chicane. Then you gotta turn left, turn.
Right there.
Get on the throttle. Brake. Let the flow, and now just flat out, man, this last banking. Going flat out, it's just, oh.
So this thing has indicator lights on it. Like they're little lights on the tail.
Yeah.
But they don't light up when you hit the brakes. They're not brake lights, but and then it has a light on the air intake.
So that should be your rain light, the one that's on the very back, like in the middle.
Yeah,
so that is your,
no,
so that should be your rain light.
Okay. Okay.
The lights on the wings. So I didn't see this car having the hybrid technology like the F1 cars do. So I don't know. Or maybe no, those are the rain lights also. So my bad. So so maybe they're prepping for rain, like these cars are already equipped with the rain lights.
Yeah.
Because I know, like in Formula One, there are the rain lights, and also if you're building your battery charge, they will also flash to let the driver know, like, hey, he's gonna be a little bit slower because he's building up his battery.
And then it's got a green light over the roll cage hoop.
That is to let them know that the car is touchable. So if the light is red, that means the mechanics can't touch the car. When the light goes green, that means the car is safe to be touched.
Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
There is a wing on the left nose that is not on the right nose.
That should be the camera. Yeah. Like normally in the cars, that's where they have the onboard camera. Yeah.
Trippy.
Yeah.
What an interesting looking car. So you got that spine tail like an LMP car, but it's at this very pointy, somewhat scary shape for racing. Usually they try to stay away from pointy things, it seems. This car's got really nasty points. The nose is a nasty point. The tails are all nasty points. Luckily the car can't go backwards. Yeah, that tail. Now, I think those tail lights are different.
Yep, that's what I was about to do.
I say that because the rain light is on that gearbox extension, it looks like. But it's not on.
Yep. Yeah, so it won't come on. So, like, when you'll have, like, on the car, you'll have, like, a rain mode. What is it called? And you just press it, and that's where, like, the lights come on the car. Like, that way they can see you through the mist.
So Joa says the hoop light shows push to pass activity.
I don't think this car has push to pass. Let's double check. Because I tried looking for DRS, like... Alright, so it does have push to pass. Okay. Let me map that.
That's the overtake button.
I'm used to it I'm used to it being called DRS. Yeah. Alright, so it's not called DRS, it's called overtake or push to pass. But normally, like in F1, because you're talking about like right there, like if you guys ever watch F1, like right here, that light theirs allows the mechanics to touch the car.
From charging.
Yeah. There's the car. I guess so, yeah. I mean, it looks just like an F2 car for the most part.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Except for the pointies.
So yeah, let's go and watch some laps while we're talking here. Alright. Yeah, so far what I've noticed in this car, you've really got to wait for the tires to warm up. This car is very, very tricky to drive on cold tires. That's not to say it's not tricky when you're actually got the tires warmed up. This car, like, because it has no traction control, it has no ABS, a lot of the Formula type cars don't have that kind of technology. You've really got to be careful on your throttle application. You can really lock up your brakes really easy. So you've really got to manage your brakes. You've really got to manage your throttles on these cars, or you're just going to be spinning around in donuts, as you saw Sean doing earlier. And I did it a couple times too. Well, so far, Brandon, I've set the fastest lap, so I am number one.
Damn it. I wasn't paying attention.
So yeah, this car does take cues from the newer Formula kind of cars. It has, it has the halo around it, as when that's mandated by FIA. Where every open wheel car has to have it to protect the drivers from debris that falls off, which we've seen in Formula 1. If you've ever watched Formula 1, you've seen like the halo save the lives of quite a few drivers, namely Romain Grosjean when he crashed in, I think it was Bahrain in the fiery crash, where his car went right through that Remco barrier. They're using the new style of of the Formula cars. It's got that really not as much aero per se as like you saw, like those number of winglets and everything on there. So it's a very basic arrow-shaped design following the new standards of Formula 1, where they want cars to follow a lot more closely together. But it's a very fast car. To me, I'm an open wheel guy. I love open wheel cars, so I've really enjoyed this car. It's fast, it's quick, it goes through the corners, nice and smooth. As long as you're maintaining. Coming out of the corners, you've really got to be careful with your throttle application, or you're really going to spin that car around. And to me, I mean, I don't know about that little fin that's on the top of the car, like you guys see, where the engine cover is. I think it's a little weird.
You know what they did? They took an F2, the new F2 car, and they gave it like anime or magma lines.
Yeah. So I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised, Sean, if they, because now they're in that FIA agreement kind of deal. If not, they could just like really tweak this car to make it look like the F2 car in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure. Sort of like the overlap we're seeing from like we were talking about the IMSA cars, and it's like, they do kind of want cars to be able to run regionally, but then be open for international competition as well. Yeah. Pretty cool. I want to talk real quick. You covered that really well. I don't have anything really to add to that car.
You want to talk about Zandvoort?
Yeah, Zandvoort. So they took Zandvoort, and this is the decent version from iRacing in terms of they rescanned it and redid it. Most of the work was on the back of the track themselves, because that's what went on. They took what was already one of the fastest tracks to drive and made it even faster. It's like, it just kind of blows my mind how quick the car gets through what feels like some really dangerous sections, which again, I was like, oh, that seems, and I'm like, wait, no, that's what Zandvoort has always been. It's just even faster, but maybe a little less sketchy
Yeah.
once you get a handle on the camber coming off the corners. We saw that at the first track at Ledenon, with the super cambered corners really making you change the way you had to get on the gas coming off the corners, and that was really the biggest difference I saw. Clean, super smooth, wide, and fast. That's my thoughts on Zandvoort.
Yeah, I think now like it's changed the dynamic a little bit with Zandvoort, especially in turn 4. Because now before, like, yes, the curve leaned a little bit as he did that rotation, almost like almost 180-degree turn. But now it's very, very banked, and where you go from right before you enter the corner, you're kind of off camber, then immediately changes to an in camber corner, so that we can really throw the car off now. That really instant change of elevation between the camber can really throw the car off if you're not careful. So if you haven't driven Zandvoort yet, or you really enjoy Zandvoort, you got to really change your approach to that corner now, and especially with the banking of the last corner now. Like before, you had to kind of be, you kind of had to let off the throttle sometimes with some cars. Here, you just go right through it, because that banking now will help you turn even more into that corner to maximize your speed going on to the final straightaway.
But what I love is you have so much loaded suspension because of that speed and camber.
Yeah.
And then you hit that hump and it unloads the car.
Yeah.
And you have all this right steering input, right? But it unloads the car and just throws it to the left.
Yeah.
2-3 feet it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really cool.
It's crazy.
Really fun.
Yeah, I think I love, like, Zandvoort's always been a track I loved, but I think I love it even more now, man. It's and I don't know if it's gonna be different with the GT cars. I still got to go back and try it with the GT3 cars.
Right.
But with these open wheelers, man, I love Zandvoort even more. This banking, like right here, we're coming up on. Oh, it is money. So yeah, guys. I don't know, Sean. Do you have anything else further to add?
No. I think we've covered a lot today, and had a lot of fun doing it. It was kind of cool bouncing from each one.
Yeah.
Certainly got a workout. My shoulders know we've been doing a lot of driving.
I mean, we've been on here for almost 3 hours now. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think I've probably expressed everything I have on my brain.
All right, man. Yeah. So let us know, guys. You can either let us know, like, in the comments, when this video goes down, let us know in the comments, or come in Discord, let us know if you actually prefer, because I don't know if you were around, Sean, like, I was kind of awesome. Like, do you guys prefer more of when we do these reviews, if you enjoy more of the edited version of these reviews, or you actually prefer us to be doing these live?
Great question. Yeah.
Either one for us is okay. We don't care either way. We just really see, like, what you guys would like to see, or if just a mix. If one time we do an edited, one time we do live, we could do that too. I certainly had fun doing this with you, Sean.
Yeah.
I had a blast coming on here, trying out jumping from all these different cars, trying them out, and then having everybody kind of chime in with their questions and comments and stuff. But without further ado, quick thoughts on me. Really great update from iRacing. I really enjoyed the new Ferrari. A blast to drive. Circuit the Ledenon, great track. I don't know if I'd use it for anything higher than a GT3, GT4 car, but a really great track with really nice elevation changes. Like, I can't even imagine how it is on your motion rig, Sean.
Oh, it was awesome. All of it. Yeah. All the track, it's funny, everything we drove had a lot of camber in them.
Yeah.
We had a lot of elevation change. Even you think about even the oval, you had a lot of camber and you had a hump in the middle of the front stretch. So yeah, a lot of things that tied into the motion sim. I know, and we've talked about this throughout the show a few times today. It's awesome seeing new content because you never know what it is that somebody really like taps into, right? Like, and maybe they're nostalgic for the 87 cars, right? And it's like, hey, if you don't want it, don't get it. Like, there's no reason you have to go buy that car. So even though everyone wants to hate on new content because it means more money, and I understand it, iRacing's very expensive. But really, even if you were an oval guy, if you're not running the vintage stuff, you don't need it. It's cool,
Yeah.
right? Like you might want it, but you don't need it.
Right.
And same thing with the smaller tracks there. So I'm not sure Ledenon is going to find its way into the Premier Series because it is more of a regional level track.
Right.
So maybe in season 1 we'll see it, but by season 2, I would think, I wouldn't want to see that track on like a GT3 schedule.
Yeah.
Right? Season 1, I think they'll do it to sell some copies of the track.
Right.
Season 2, it should be on the schedule. So, but again, if you're like running Miatas in Europe, it would be maybe an essential track.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Kern. So I really like that even though all of this is really cool content, that none of it was threatening to your wallet.
No.
Because if you were in the LMP cars and you already got the BMW or Cadillac, well, you don't have to buy new ones. You'll race against them,
Yeah.
but you don't got to buy them. The Ferrari, well, if you're a GT3 guy, it's an expensive group to be in.
Yeah.
How many GT3 cars? What can you say? And then as far as the historic and the 2 tracks, we're talking about very specific content, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because it's fulfilling the needs of those very distinct individuals. And for those who want to perceive it, again, you don't need it.
Yeah.
If you don't need it, you don't need it. You don't buy it. It's not a worry. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So, beyond that, a lot of fun. Ledenon, really fun.
Yep.
I'd love to run that in some like a F3 car, F4,
Yeah.
F3 car. I'd love to run that even in like Skippies or something like that. Ledenon, I think if you got out there in some like late models or some street stocks and had a good crowd, it was a big, wide track.
Talking about
so
Kern?
I could see. I meant Kern.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I could see 2-3 wide. I could see definitely times where maybe if you're on fresh tires that you're up there on that high line just cruising around people. We were kind of in a difficult car. Those cars are old and they're heavy and just not quite the same. But I think it was all in all, it was really a fun content day because we had extreme diversity. You had some vintage oval, you had some regional oval, you had some like peak Formula level driving, you had some peak LMP level, you had some regional level as far as the track goes. So yeah, I think they got a nice blend. But I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. I think the next build, we could probably they might need to lay off content just a little bit and focus on that rain. What you said about the ladder and competition, I couldn't agree with you more. It's something I'm trying to pick what series I want to run for fun in iRacing next season, and it's been really hard for me to figure out where the numbers are because when I go on, it's like 0, 4, 0, 6, 0, 3, 3, 2, 5, and it's like other than a couple of series, there are very few that are holding big numbers, and it's because they're all over the place. They must have, Brandon. I mean, they are literally like 22 minutes away, Button Willow and Kern. And I would argue that Button Willow on a regional level, now Willow Springs, the fastest track in the West, has such a historic identity that is truly historic, right? Yeah. But in current configuration, it's really not used except for like commercials and like Lemons Racing and real regional. Button Willow has become the track that has racing 7 days a week. So yeah, Button Willow, if you were going to get regional on the West Coast road course, it's super duper important. Thunder Hill is the other one. Yeah. That's a track that even Kazunori has raced in. You got the 25 hours Thunder Hill. It's maybe one of the more popular West Coast like open, endurance races, and it makes it a very known track because a lot of people will travel a long way to go run that race in particular. So yeah, but maybe this is a new trend. We've seen a lot of the mainstay tracks. Maybe this is the new trend, and for people who run SSCA or Lemons or any kind of regional in Europe, these are the tracks right? And the tracks that you actually attend and go to, not, because they don't let amateurs race at Spa. So
Yeah, and to go through like there's some things we didn't really go through, like was really in the update that came out for iRacing. So like I'm just gonna go over like just the highlights of what came out for this new season build. So we already talked about all the cars, all the tracks. They've optimized the sim. So what they've done was they've improved the loading times. They've reduced memory usage from the game, which is good news for for people. Sean, did you know that now you can load 12 different cars in a session?
I did know that.
Okay.
I did. I read. Yeah,
Uh,
I did read
okay.
all the notes. Well, and I was thinking about that though.
Yeah.
When you get into endurance racing,
Yeah.
they've expanded the amount of cars per class. So
Mhm.
they actually, it was something we didn't even know they needed to do,
Yeah.
right? But now we do.
I mean, yeah. So because right now you've got I think over 10 different GT3 cars. So I mean, now especially if you're in leagues, like right now we're getting ready to start our league in a couple of weeks. I mean, we've got the LMP2 car, which the pros are going to drive, but then we got all these GT3 cars. I mean, I think what I've got loaded so far is 9 GT3 cars. Before you couldn't do that. You could do 7 cars and then you changed it to 8, but now you can do up to 12 in a session. So great on iRacing on that. I loved it. We tried the dirt and the grass. What'd you think, Sean?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good. It was good. Nice
Uh,
to see you slow down
right.
better. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen with the people now that can't use the grass as a speed tool. Good to see that. We saw that they added helmet effects. Is it needed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it. To me, it kind of took me out of the element of being in the car. What else did they do? Yeah, they've updated damage model for 12 new cars. They've added iRacing to 18 different tracks. Added a lot more iRacing setups that you can use actually from iRacing. There's a lot more setups on the cars. There's a
Which is
lot
awesome.
more, yeah, which is great. There's a lot more that went on, but these are kind of like the highlights we'll go through. But anyways, that's it from me, Sean. Do you have anything else to add?
No,
All right.
I'm all good. I'm all good. Good day, good content.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for everybody getting us to 50,000 subs. Thank you, Amir, for everything and setting up all this for today.
Yeah.
And yeah, good.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, we'll let you guys get back to it. We're gonna do our thing. I think I might sim race for a little bit more. Enjoy the new Ferrari. And then I know you got to pack up. I've got to pack up a little bit later too. But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining. Thank you guys for helping us reach 50,000 subscribers, and hopefully, I don't want to be too optimistic, but hopefully we can get to that 100 next year, Sean, into next year.
I'm not counting it for a while. I don't want to talk about numbers. I just want to make good shows.
Same. Yes, we can provide you guys fun shows. That is our number one priority. Yeah, but again, thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna head out, and as always, I hope you guys have fun sim racing, and I will catch you later.
Later.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.